Bueno, muchas gracias a los dos. IWAN BAAN nos ha llevado una excursión por el mundo y sus gentes, desde los rascacielos hasta los campos de refugiados, y ha acabado con las iglesias excavadas que daban entrada a la propuesta de Dominique Perrault, que ya desde los comienzos de su carrera con la Gran Biblioteca, pero también en Seúl y en tantos otros sitios, propone que las ciudades no crezcan ni a lo alto, ni a lo ancho, ni a lo alto, sino hacia abajo. No insisto más en esto. Sí que debo decir que IWAN BAAN, que como sabéis es el fotógrafo hoy más cotizado del mundo, todavía no ha fotografiado ninguna obra de Dominique, así que esto es también un encuentro entre ambos. Vamos a usar el inglés para hablar, no es la lengua materna de ninguno, él hubiera preferido el holandés, Dominique el francés y yo el castellano, así que vamos a conformarnos en hablar en una lengua ajena a todos. So we will use a language which is not ours, not yours, neither Dominique. So we'll manage with this international English to go. I will ask you to begin to make a commentary on the presentation of your colleague.
Yes, I'm always fascinated with how you can do to create space out of this void. I'm really fascinated with these kind of projects. I don't know your work very well, but like the project in Korea, I've seen and I've spent time in the place, and yeah, like it's a fact which is overlooked by many architects. I feel like that you actually can create space by removing materials instead of building something, and to do something very subtle also, and use the ground and in a way the materials which are there already and the space which are there to create a whole new experience.
So Dominique, you have seen the work of IWAN BAAN. How come neither of your clients have commissioned him?
Yes, why not?
No, you must try to mend this historical mistake.
Maybe.
If you are not in his archive, you may not be in history.
I got a historical mistake, no, because not yet. Maybe we will see.
Architecture takes a long time,
absolutely.
patience.
But I got a historical mistake. It's a very stupid story, because when the library was totally finished for the grand opening, and with the French President François Mitterrand, Andreas Gursky asked to make a photo.
Gursky?
Yes. Long time, 20 years ago, no.
And you refused?
And the library, the staff of the library refused.
Oh, this is historical mistake.
It's a historical mistake. Okay, welcome.
Nice.
No, but you have seen how prominent people are in
yes.
his... he discusses cities and architectures, but also people and their stories. They're full of narratives, you know, from this Saharian refugee camp, which has already grown to the real city, to the metropolis of the world, with this amazing image of New York, you know, dark, when the power sort of went down. So, Dominique, now, make a commentary on what you have seen.
I was a little bit impressed by the two scale, because when you start, huge, and big building, big city, and so, and step by step becomes more intimate, and with two people, three people, one animals, and some subject, and I like this presentation come from the huge territory, the geography, and some object, very prominent, more or less interesting, but your photos are interesting sometimes. So the buildings are a little bit different, but it's not the debate. And after, step by step, stay only the human being at the end.
No, but that's fascinating.
And the church.
Yeah. No, that's also very much a link. Yeah. No, but that fascinates me also a lot, that once you, my photography moves from that sort of macro scale, like these aerials, the big city overviews, to these very personal moments. And you see also like how people, even under the most dire circumstances, still aspire all these things which you as architects also try to do. And these moments, like that's, the commissioned work, what I get from architects, and then this sort of personal works where you step into really these personal lives and people building basically out of nothing, still these kind of spaces. It's really interesting to see these sort of narratives, how they combine in many ways and in very different levels.
Yeah, it is true that you have worked in many scales, from helicopters over, you know, taking the territory, then going down to the microscope, people and their stories.
It's a good traveling.
Yeah, which is amazing. Of course, it was very difficult to bring IWAN BAAN here, because he never knows where he is going to be. He is always touring the world, and we say, do you think that mid-June, where are you going to be in this continent, or are you going to be in Australia or in Chile, or who knows where?
That's hard to plan always, but blame the architects. They tell always a building is finished then, and then it takes another 5 months. So my schedule is always endless puzzle.
No, it's very good to have you here, but we said that we wanted more questions from the audience, so I'm going to throw the question to you, and hoping that some of you will raise your hand and ask them about their work as architect or as photographer, or as the relationship between both. So, Joan, what are you doing here that you are not holding your hand? Come on. Yeah, I knew you were going, but we need a microphone. Where's the microphone? Oh, here. You are going to get a microphone.
I tell you that I'm very fascinated with your picture from Sahara Ascentment. It's a very nice point of view. I think that is quite a child point of view.
Question?
It's like a child point of view. You see the ascentments of Sahara like a child when arrived there, and was fascinated for the small things in the middle of the catastrophe, with practically small and sarcastic things sometimes, or little jokes, like a window with, and I like this point of view that we can find also this point of view in other pictures, but I'm very fascinated in your pictures. And basically, more than the picture, your point of view, the way you see the problems of the city, or the problems of the people. I like that. Just that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Of course, I know very little. It's a very complex subject. If you talk about the Western Sahara, of course, the whole political implications also, which I don't know much about, except for my experience there, really. But once you start sort of spending time there and really ask people also, and give interest in these, what people do there. It's incredible always to see how open people are also, and want to show you everything. In a way, there's many similarities with architects also. They come to me and ask me to invite me to come and see their newest building, photograph it and bring it out. You come to a place like that, people build it basically with their own hands. They're as excited basically as what they built, and they want to show you everything. And it's really fascinating when you step in all these total different worlds, what you experience there, and what people want to show and tell you of how they created spaces and created a place for themselves.
So, more questions from the audience, or else I'll have to extract them from you. No? No questions? I was hoping that some of you will ask, how do I get IWAN BAAN to one of my buildings, which is just completed? How do you do that? Can I ask you that? Or what they might do if they want you to photograph one of the buildings?
Yeah, like for me, it's always important that it's not just architecture. What you've seen in these pictures, also like there's like it's also maybe because of my background. Like I'm not an architect, I know very little about architecture, but it's like my background in documentary. You try to tell a story, a picture story on a place, what people do there, and that's not just a building, but it makes part of a city, part of a larger landscape, and especially also the use, what people do there, how to bring that story out, what does that building for these people, for that environment, and so. And that's a story which with some buildings you can show, with maybe just an office building, it's more difficult, but like it depends, like they're always different.
In any case, you need a narrative. You need a narrative, you need a
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
And Dominique gave us one. He gave us a story of how the city can grow below and can grow simply extracting material instead of adding things.
Yeah.
And you did it in the Grand Bibliothèque and then in Seoul University and in so many places, some of which you were shown. And now you want to build a huge Champs-Élysées there in Korea too.
Yeah.
So this is your narrative now? This is how you are going to propose yourself as an architect? I'm the one who excavates. So Dominique Perrault equal excavation?
No, exactly. But in my work, this kind of project, they are in minority. But I build this minority, and this minority becomes the majority.
But in the Manzanares River in Madrid, with the Caja Mágica,
No, okay.
you did not build.
Absolutely. It's
No.
the minority.
Well, now
No,
it's going to be
but-
extended. They need a new tennis court, so maybe you can build it underground. No?
Yes.
If you convince the mayor.
Wait.
Did you speak to the mayor?
No. I speak
No?
not about that.
Not about that.
No, but I'm very excited about this attitude, and about this intellectual attitude also, but aesthetic certainly attitude. But I think the most interesting is also the social, economical, and scientific attitude. Why? Because this kind of projects are very impressive, because when you go up in a tower, you have the vertigo, In this kind of project, when you go down, you feel nothing. You go down, but it's very
you go down to
interesting.
the belly of the earth.
Because the architecture and the volume and the space go with you, and the natural light, and you have the nature, you have a tree, it's normal.
Yeah.
But in fact, you are creating more properties. It's interesting about economical strategy. For example, for the library, we provide a public space, gratis. Gratis. 50,000 square meters.
Yeah.
A new square for Paris.
But now you are even more ambitious because
It's one point. Another point about the research. And because this today, and the political people speaking about consultation, participation, and so, okay, we are agree. But we are speaking about what? Because,
No, but for instance...
Sorry, one second.
No.
We are speaking about what? Because we have a problem today, because we should develop a special database in 3D about the cities. A lot of scientific people work about the database for the brain. And the city, I think, is easier, I imagine. But with a database in 3D, we could organize some participation, consultation, sharing, because at the end, we are speaking about sharing. It's impossible to share a cake if you don't know the cake. That is a problem. And we are exactly in this problem. Okay, you make a layer, a street, a metro, you put some building, you like that, and at the end, you know nothing. And it's a fantastic challenge for everybody to integrate all information in 3D about our environment. And after, you could share. Because it's possible, it's empty. Okay, I go there. I develop something there. And also, we are speaking after about the production. Because the city, the smart city, is very people titled. But in fact, we should speak about the productive city. And we could have some farm. In Seoul, we imagine in the railway station a farm. And we provide some strawberry and some green salad and at the bottom of the tower. Yeah. And the proximity are coming. And I think we could develop a fantastic new vision about this kind of metropole, not only metropoles, but especially metropoles, obviously, and the citizen.
So agriculture is coming to the hearts of the cities.
Yeah.
But François Hollande asked you to think about how to change the heart of Paris, the Ile de la Cité.
Yeah.
And now, how about the new president? Is he still keen on doing it?
At this moment, he is thinking about the Grand Paris with Roland Castro recently, and but a group of architects are involved in the Grand Paris too. But you have two times in a mandat of the president. The first time and the second time. The second time, coming back in the center of the
Okay, you have to convince a new president that the Ile de la Cité can be renewed by excavating and putting things underground.
No, but,
José María Ezquiaga, who has left us half an hour ago, has happily returned. So he must hold up his hand and ask something to our friends. It's a minor punishment for leaving us for such a long time.
Yo creo que
En inglés.
Sí, en inglés. I think that the question is not only to ask the people, but to look at the people, to know how the people feel, what are they looking for. And perhaps in the first presentation, I was not able to attend all your presentation. I'm sorry, because I had an urgency. But perhaps the most interesting in the presentation was the look, the stare to the people, to the situation, to trying to understand the behavior. No? And perhaps it's more interesting, and perhaps it's connect with the thinking of the alcaldesa of Madrid, Manuela. No? She was talking about little anecdotes, perhaps, but perhaps the lesson, the learning was, is necessary learn from people, but not always through the questionnaire, asking, be satisfied with standard answers, but overall understand. And understand needs, as you say, knowledge, and the knowledge of the expert, probably.
Yeah.
In fact, I think very often, it is architects and town planners and photographers who provide the images that can spark dreams. You know, participation, as you say, it is not only just putting crosses in a piece of paper. Sometimes it's finding images of the future that you find appealing and fighting for them.
Yeah.
Is that so? You did an exhibition of the Ile de la Cité, and was it well attended?
Yes, we got it.
And people participated? They said, I like this?
Yes, absolutely. And
were they also hostile to some of it?
No,
Because
no,
you touched the heart of Paris.
It was very interesting because, in fact, this district, this island, disappear on the map, from the map of Paris. Nobody stay. Is a very authoritarian place. It's not very sexy. Nobody. It's not. It's grey, and it's very dark. And the idea, but you have the most important institution, and the idea is to reorganize the relationship between the Seine River and the island, and also between the cathedral and the Louvre, because you could walk. The promenade is fantastic between the cathedral and so. And the idea was how it's possible to change the relationship between the people and this kind of big, grey, sad building, authoritarian building, and we are creating some maps for the exhibition, and when the people go into the exhibition, say, we are there. We could go there. It's very.
This is also participation.
It's crazy
I don't
because a
see
lot
any
of
raised
people
hands.
coming, but nobody know where they are.
Dominique, I'm
Was
trying
aware.
to get them to participate. In previous editions of the Congress, they say, yes, but you always speak in the platform, and they never give the word to us. And now we give the word to you, and nobody holds up his hand. So, may I prompt you to do it, or may I continue the conversation? Nadie se atreve a levantar la mano. Siempre al final las quejas son siempre, sí, estuvo bien, pero no había participación, no había participación. Por favor, participación, que alguien levante la mano, que estamos ya francamente desesperados. Ya solamente levanta la mano aquellos a los que les induzco a hacerlo. Es que ya... Bueno, pues si no hay manos, yo continúo aquí trabajando sin red. Iwan, I think
I can maybe tell one anecdote, like about how how people find it normal, how to build, and so like this sort of participation also. Like I'm working on a project already for a number of years. All my trips to China, I'm there quite regularly for just here and there commissions and so, but I try also to visit and look at the old vernacular projects all over China, and it's fascinating to see how people used to build, like the incredible variety of how people used to build all over the country there. And it's all so different depending on the location, kind of materials people could find, all kind of local conditions, weather, climate, all these kind of things. And then when you see now China, it's only high rises and only the concrete factories, the steel factories, the glass factories, and everything kind of looks the same. And one of the things which really stood out there for me, and is also coming back on this sort of underground living, was this whole community in the north of China. I didn't show now any pictures in this presentation, but it's in the area around Xi'an, where for centuries people lived underground. And it's still like, they all had the aspiration to live in the typical Chinese courtyard house, which you see in all kind of variations all over the country there. But when you talk to people there, like they said, we could never afford to buy materials, to get materials to build the house. So for them, the most logic thing was just to carve it out. And there you see the classical Chinese courtyard house, a square courtyard, but just dug out into the earth with like rooms into the earth. And like, the only thing they needed was just their manpower, which was readily available, and just dig out the space. And there was a time where 30 million people lived there in that way, all underground.
Really?
And
that many?
That's now all almost disappeared because of regulations. It's not allowed anymore, and all these kind of things. And like these sort of, with what was for people totally normal there is disappearing so quickly just because of the notion of how you should live now and all these kind of things, that you have to live in a high rise, that you live in a building, that you have to buy materials, that architecture is difficult, or that it's complicated to build a thing, that you need all kind of expertise. But there were for centuries like these very natural ways to build in so many different places.
I want to ask you a personal question, which is, you know the world better than any of us. You have made so many tours around the world, going to not only the metropolis, but to the very far away places, you know, visiting shanty towns and palaces. And after so many years, getting to know the world better, are you optimistic about the state of the world? Because the conversation we had before this one, at least the moderator was very pessimistic and thought that we were going down the drain and everything was collapsing. And what is your own perception?
It's difficult. When you look like at a picture of Miami and sort of the crazy construction there and just this little filter of land basically sitting on the water, and you know that that place will be there only for maybe a few more decades, and we're building, it's kind of pointless to build in places like that. But at the same time, when you look into all these sort of personal moments, there's also a lot of optimism in these places, and to see how, people create also like places under the most dire circumstances, and we find a way to exist with environment and with conditions, and so it will be difficult.
So you never be elegiac, but on the contrary, optimistic about the ability of people to survive in the more difficult situations. Even if we are destroying many things which are valuable, still we shall manage. And so. Dominique, what do you think? Do you want to close this with a note of optimism or with a dark, somber view of the future?
I think this period, if you want, is very impressive because it's very dark, very violent in one side, and in the other side is absolutely incredible. All is possible. And the opposite is like that, and and it's very dangerous. I am not optimistic or pessimistic. I don't know, but the critical mass about the destruction of the planet is real. It's not a discussion. It's real. Okay.
It's horrible. But Macron hasn't made you more optimistic?
Macron is working during 5 years, after we will see. It's not the good scale. The good scale is the billions of people living on the planet. That is a good scale. The president and the political people is not the good scale. The good scale is the population. It's a population. And the population could go in this way or in this way. It depends. We will see. But all is possible.
Muy bien, pues en cierta medida hemos continuado el debate sobre los desafíos demográficos de los que se hablaba en la sesión anterior, las migraciones, al final, un tema inevitable en cualquier debate de hoy. No me gustaría acabar con este tono melancólico y elegíaco, así que les daré una buena noticia que seguro que han visto ya en sus teléfonos móviles, y es que el ministro de Cultura ha presentado su dimisión. Muy buenas noches a todos, y mañana nos volvemos a quedar aquí temprano. Perdonen, pero déjenme que les diga la hora, para recordarles. Mañana comenzamos a las 9:30. Sean puntuales, por favor. Gracias.